Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Omilade, your Goddess Guru, here to share a word of inspiration with you on your path to self-realization and self-mastery. I hope that you are having a wonderful day, that you are feeling wonderful about yourself, and that you are observing the wonder of all that is. We are in the full moon cycle, so I hope that you are able to note that you have manifested some of the things that you wrote down at the new moon. So, at the new moon, this is living in alignment with the goddess cycle, and really, we could say living in alignment with the cycles of the universe, but this is a part of the goddess tradition. The moon, the lunar cycle is very important, and so we capitalize on the energy of each phase. And so in the new moon cycle, we write down what it is we wish to achieve in this particular cycle. And then between the new moon and the full moon is the waxing moon. During the waxing moon cycle, we work. You have to listen to the guidance within you to know what steps to take, and then you have to take them. That is what the waxing moon is all about. And once we get to the full moon, we're either seeing progress or we're seeing a full manifestation. I've had it, maybe I wrote something down at one new moon, but I didn't see it manifest until about 3 or 4 full moons later. And it's good to write it down and keep a journal, because then you see it actually works. And then a very important cycle after the full moon is the waning moon. And when the moon is waning, it's a time of reflection. What didn't work that we need to change, so that whatever we were seeking to manifest that didn't manifest, we can begin to make shifts and changes. Isn't that a wonderful way to live? To take that time month after month after month, and you take that time of introspection. That is very important. What needs to be tweaked, what needs to be changed, and very importantly, what needs to be released. And so in the waxing moon cycle, we're letting go. If you're mad at someone, the waning moon cycle is a very good time to do ritual work, some type of ritual. It can be your own ritual. It doesn't matter. And you can look on Google or wherever on the World Wide Web to find so many forgiveness rituals. But you can do a ritual of forgiveness, of release. You can do release work when it comes to negative attitudes that you may be holding on to. Maybe there's a behavior that you need to let go of. So the waxing moon cycle, the waning moon cycle is almost sort of like the new moon cycle, because oftentimes what we're letting go of, we don't want to see it come back. So it's the opposite. And of course it leads up to the new moon cycle. And the more free you are, the more you let things go, the more open you will be to manifesting that which you desire. And at the end of the day, what do I always say? It's about self-realization. So living in alignment with the lunar cycles is a path to self-realization, because you get to experience your power. You get to release anything that's blocking your power. And you do this, cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. And for women who do have a menstrual flow, you can look and see, where is your flow lining up with? Is it lining up with the new moon? Is it lining up during the waxing cycle, the full moon, or the waning cycle? The optimum, this is what I've been taught, that the optimum time for your menses to start would be, or your moon flow to start would be at the new moon. When you work with the goddess tradition, the new moon is the energy of the ancient mothers. It's a very powerful force of nature, feminine force of nature. And these energies are at the dark moon. And so if you want to know more about the ancient mothers, just send me a message and I'll give you some information. But I see the ancient mothers as a council of feminine energy, non-physical feminine energy, very powerful, all wise, that if you seek their assistance, they they will help you. It's no joke type energy though. But if you follow the wisdom of the ancient mothers, you will only go in the right direction of your life. The waning moon cycle is governed by the maiden aspect of the goddess. In my tradition, I start off with Oshun. There are many names and many traditions for this energy, but I typically will start off with the goddesses out of Ifa, which is a tradition out of West Africa, Nigeria. And so Oshun, you can also say Heharu out of Egypt, and let me see here, Venus, if you are familiar with that energy, Venus, and Hanael. This is, all about spring, beauty, birth, waxing moon cycle. The full moon cycle is the energy of Yemoya. She is the mother aspect of the goddess. And of course, what is the mother going to do? She's going to gestate and give birth to that baby. And so there's Yemoya. There is Aset or Isis. A lot of people know the name Isis. There is Gabrielle. And then her energy is the energy of the moon. When we're talking astrology, she is the energy of the moon. And then there is, for the waning cycle, Oya. Oya is the crone aspect of the goddess. And so Oya is also Sekhmet. I would say, for those who know the Metu Neter, I always relate Oya to Nekabet Wachet, because that's what Ra'u Nefer Amen says, as well as Sekert. This is an energy that has to do with getting rid of stuff. So you can think about Pele, you can think about Kalima, you can think about the energy of a tornado. Yemoya and Oshun are water goddesses. They are in nature, water. And so it's all about nature and, just so many ways to connect with these energies, to heighten that energy during that time, and to get yourself in alignment with the energy. Notice your own moon phases within you too. So I just wanted to give you some background on the phases of the moon, because it works. And so I'm hoping that this full moon cycle is a very good moon cycle for you. Okay, so I'm just here in my head to say Saraswati and Lakshmi. Those are out of the Hindu tradition. So those are goddess energies. I see Saraswati more as Oshun new moon cycle, and Lakshmi more as Yemoya full moon cycle. They don't all the time line up perfectly. The goddess, she do what she want to do. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is something that came to my mind yesterday as I was thinking about my own life and life situations. And that is, the question that came in my mind is, why do we dig a hole in our life? Why do we dig ourselves into a bad situation and then call on God, the great mother, to get us out of it? At the end of the day, it is incumbent upon us to dig ourselves out of the very situations that we have put ourselves in. If we would but take that time. I didn't even know why I was talking about the lunar cycle with you all. But going back to what I said, maybe this is why I brought it up. If you take that time to observe your life, if you connect with your life, with yourself in a way where you're being honest, oh, I see who and what I am. I see how I operate. And you know, if we subscribe to self-realization and self-mastery, we know that we don't have to be anything, that at any moment we can change and be 180 degrees different. And so if we take that time to look at who and what we are and we're honest with ourselves, we will say, oh, I see what is making me jump down this hole. Initially, we may not know. But if we take the time to do the spiritual work, to really study, we will see how to get out, or what makes us keep jumping in that hole. Don't you ever wonder, why do I keep dealing with this situation over and over and over? Every time I turn around, I find myself in place A or place B. Well, at the end of the day, you're finding yourself there because that's where you're going. Well, the good news is this, that we are powerful creators. We are powerful beyond measure. All the power of the great divine energy is within us. Maybe not in magnitude, but in quality. It's there because that's who and what we are. We are made of God energy. If God is everything and everywhere, how can we not be that? Okay? And so, everything is a perfect creation. Everything that manifests, it manifests perfectly based on what we're thinking, based on what we're feeling, based on what we are, what we're programmed to know and understand. And so the worst thing we can do is be a crybaby. It's just not okay. And I can talk about crybabies because I used to be the biggest crybaby of all before I began to realize there's no need to cry. I created the situation. I can uncreate it and create something new. It is unacceptable to cry about the places where we find ourselves, because divine law dictates that we create our reality. The better thing to do is to engage your spiritual practices and to know thyself. That's something that is taught within the Institute of Whole Life Healing, of which I'm part of. And there is know thyself. It's 3 areas that we are constantly, bouncing back and forth between, or maybe we're in 2 at the same time. Know thyself, cleanse and purify, living in alignment with absolute truth. If you do work on those areas, at some point, you can't help but say, I am so tripping. I'm sitting here crying about a hole. Now that I watch myself, I tip over to that little area, I get my shovel out, and I dig, and I dig, and I dig. And so, it's no need to cry. I am really tripping. I am going to stop that. Now, some of us may say, I really do want to get to the root cause, because we can just drop it like that. Or that programming does matter. We can get deeper into the programming to see where did it first start, so that we can replace the programming. I call it doing a software upgrade. The best upgrade you can do is take away all software and only be guided by the divine energy within you that is you. And the way we do that is day in and day out. We work our spiritual practices. We ask ourselves, who am I? What am I being? Why am I acting like this? Why am I feeling pain? Why am I feeling joy? You know, when I'm feeling joy, I'm more in the right area. Can I hear the spirit of the divine energy within me speaking to me? If I can't, why not? So we have to dig deeply and do our spiritual practices. We have to work with our ancestors. We have to get out in nature. There are so many things that we have to do over and over and over again. And it's not all the time interesting like the rest of the world can appear to be at times. But guess what? We'll be much more happy. So stop digging holes, jumping in them, and then crying about, why am I here? God, help me. Please help me. And then a lot of us, we get out and we celebrate. And we don't learn one damn thing. We're just happy we got out of that pain. And perhaps the next hole we jump in looks like it's different, but it's actually the same hole. It just has a whole new disguise. You know how sometimes people will get off one drug and then pick up another? Like a lot of times people who give up drugs and alcohol become chain smokers. They may have already even been chain smokers before, but they're really chain smokers. I remember some family members got off smoking and they became gum chewers, like, you know, it's the exact same thing. No disrespect, because let me tell you, coming off, you know, liquor and hardcore drugs versus smoking, that's great. If you're not smoking anymore and you're chewing gum, that's great. So it's no judgment. I commend anyone who's gotten off of transformed their lives out of an addiction. It's not easy, but it is worth it. So if you have an addiction, it's just digging a hole daily that becomes exceedingly entrenched, and it's oftentimes a result of your spirit is weak and being controlled by the addiction, which I look at as a spirit. But you don't want the spirit there. Tell it to leave. Okay? So we, just dig a hole that looks different, but it's the exact same hole. It's the hole of lack. It's the hole of lack of self-love. It's the hole of not knowing the truth of who and what you are. It's the whole of, the world told me I am A, and I'm trying to be A, but I can't be A because I'm really B. And so, I just keep falling into this hole because I'm trying to be something that I'm not. It's the whole of not understanding that you are powerful beyond measure. You think you have no power. It's the whole of not understanding the truth of reality, thinking that this world is actually rock solid and real, and the things that happen in it, we don't have any control over it. No. So you just don't dig a hole. Unless you're digging a hole to bury something, not you, and you're not going to return to it. How do we do that? Through our spiritual work. Know thyself. Question who and what you are. Cleanse and purify. You know what is there that doesn't need to be there. What are your cleansing rituals and practices? If you don't know these things, that's the point. You got to do it. And guess what? It's your job. It is not the world's job to do this for you. A lot of us are so lazy, okay? And I'm not mad at anything or anybody. I'm talking about myself. A lot of us are lazy. We lack discipline. And then we want to cry. We want to pray to God to get us out of all of this. No más. No more. And then living in alignment with absolute truth, which is, as I see it, two things. The divine laws of the universe, such as the law of attraction, the law of karma, the law of sowing and reaping, okay? And so, even think about the laws of physics. Those are some of my favorite laws to think about. So, inertia is something that we deal with in our lives. We are going to be the same until a force comes along, which is us. However, we're manifesting that force. That force comes along and moves us to change what we are doing. So living in alignment with absolute truth. And when we live in alignment with absolute truth, you begin to realize the power within, that it's a science. Creating the life that you desire is a science. So if you dig a hole and you find yourself in it, the best thing to do is just say, you know what, I dug this hole. And this is the better prayer, not, God, get me out. Great Mother, I promise you, if you get me out of this hole, I'm straightening up. You can do that. We all do. Another prayer to say that might be more effective is, you know what, great divine energy, I'm asking you to show me, why do I keep digging this hole, and lead me in the direction that will move me out of this type of behavior. This is no longer working for me. So will you help me with that? And you can't not win with that situation. So I hope that this message is going to help someone and inspire someone, and just know you're not alone. Probably the majority of the people in the world experience this issue, and very few are able to get out of it right away, but now you know what to do. And I wish you a happy full moon and many, many blessings of the Great Mother, especially Yemoya, be upon you and yours. Peace and love. Omilade out.